Hello and welcome to another fantasy football tournament series, number 61. And this is the Spanish Caribbean Cup. It's a mini tournament of just 3 teams where there are only 3 Caribbean countries that speak Spanish. I plan on making a few more videos like this for the Dutch Caribbean, Anglo-Caribbean, and French Caribbean. And then I'll have like a Caribbean Cup of Champions, sort of the linguistic champions of the different languages spoken in the Caribbean. So I'm starting off here. I thought this would be a neat idea. Only 3 countries, though. And this will be the smallest one of the 4 linguistic Caribbean Cup championships. There's Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba. And the way this tournament is structured is there's not any one host nation. Every team plays each other twice, home and away, similar to other tournaments I've had with just 3 teams. Everyone plays 4 games, 2 at home and 2 away, and the winner is the champion of the Spanish Caribbean Cup. So, like I said, Puerto Rico, as you see here, pictured in order, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba. So let's jump right in. The first match, Puerto Rico versus Cuba. I've gone with the victory on the road here for Cuba. Cuba versus Dominican Republic. I've gone with another victory at home for Cuba, but a modest 1-0 victory. Dominican Republic versus Puerto Rico. A victory for the Dominican Republic. What's interesting is that historically, the Dominican Republic used to be a minnow of Caribbean football. Baseball's the main sport in the Dominican Republic. They've sort of been quiet on the footballing scene. But lately, with the establishment of the Dominican Domestic League, they have more of a national team now. And in the last year or so, the Dominican Republic has been registering some pretty good results in the region, and they are actually in a healthy position to qualify for their first ever CONCACAF Gold Cup next summer. So they could be a Caribbean force that is on the rise. That remains to be seen. Whereas Puerto Rico, they're in a bit of a slump. They've lost most of their games in the CONCACAF Nations League qualifying. Ever since really the Hurricanes took a toll, I think that Puerto Rico, they haven't been up to par to what they were in the mid-2000s. They were one of the better Caribbean teams, along with Cuba, Haiti, Jamaica, and Trinidad. Not quite on their level, but they were a decent team that would be able to compete with those teams. I remember in a friendly a few years ago, Puerto Rico actually narrowly, respectably lost 2-1 to Spain, who was the World Cup champion at that time. They lost, I believe, the Spanish national team flew to Puerto Rico, and they had a game there. And Puerto Rico lost only 2-1. But, that was a while ago. And right now, they're doing quite poorly. So I go with a victory for the up-and-coming Dominican team. And the return leg, Puerto Rico versus Dominican Republic. I don't want to give Puerto Rico nothing. I don't think they're that far behind. So I go with a draw here. Dominican Republic versus Cuba. I'm going the victory for the Dominican Republic to get one back on the Cubans from the first leg loss. And then finally, Cuba versus Puerto Rico, gone the victory for Cuba. So where does that leave us? Well, it means that Cuba finishes in first on 9 points with 3 wins and 1 loss. They did lose 1 game here against DR. Both teams beat each other at home. DR right behind them with 7 points in second place, and Puerto Rico in a distant third because of their current form on 1 point. So Cuba, 9 points. Dominican Republic, 7. Puerto Rico, 1 point. Cuba wins the Spanish Caribbean Cup and qualify for the Caribbean Cup of Champions. So leave a comment below, like, subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Until then, guys, have a good one. Much love and peace out.